Welcome back, YouTubers, to another TNA Impact Wrestling review, sponsored by NJ's Monster, with me, Mr. Parkin, and this guy's sitting next to me. It's none other than the monster drinking NJ, people. What's up? What's up, indeed. Subscribe above, like this video, and comment your thoughts on this edition of TNA Impact Wrestling down in the comment section below.
I'm actually kind of interested in the link below.
You're on a bit of a, you're on like a 5-second delay there, aren't you, NJ?
Yes, I am, Dan.
Yeah, oh, right, you see, let's hope you're not like that through the review, or else the review's going to go on for like 20 minutes. Oh, no, they usually do, don't they? There we go, me taking pot shots at... that's how you take a pot shot at yourself, TNA.
Yes, it is.
What are you looking at me like that for? Because I called us out on bullshit that we've consistently been giving?
We do no bullshit in the British bit.
No, we don't. I'm only joking. So, this was the Go Home Show edition of TNA Impact Wrestling going towards Turning Point. The opening of the show, I just want to say before I go into this was actually a really good edition of TNA Impact Wrestling, I thought, this week.
That's very true. And a point I want to quickly make, I was going to wait till next week, but it's the best time to do it now. One of our friends in the YWC has started a big survey to determine who is the #1 wrestler of all time. We will link you to the survey in the description box below. Check it out and please subscribe to the OK Babe.
Yeah, I mean, this is a nice little thing he's doing here. He's getting a load. He's, you know, rather than being biased like WWE, he's actually going to put all the wrestlers out there, and you get a chance to vote. You can vote once a day on the poll, I believe. So
it's once. Altogether.
Oh, it's one sort
of IP, yeah.
Oh, right, okay, fair enough. Look, they cracked the IP. God damn, they're good with technology these days. So yeah, go check out that link in the description box and go take part in the poll. Now, the first thing we want to mention about this show is before the show even really got announced, we had Devon, we had Luke Gallows after being revealed last week as the Chaos Director guy had to be, you know, himself and shit. And
yeah, I like the fact they're still trying to emphasise more on the 8 and 8 thing. It was a short thing to begin with, all about, we've had Devon, which, to be honest, some people could say didn't work out. Luke Gallows, this was his time to prove that his reveal and his part in the 8 and 8 is worthy of being in the group. And
basically, he had to prove tonight whether he was going to be worthy or not, and we found that out in the hour main event. But we will begin with the opener, AJ Styles versus Bobby Roode with James Storm on commentary. I'm sorry, this first segment took up a lot of time in the first sort of 25 minutes of the show, but I felt this was a really good segment personally. I mean, they did well setting up the pay-per-view match. They put over the implications of the match and the people in it. They even tried to add a little bit of heat between AJ Styles and James Storm, which allowed Bobby Roode to get the victory. So I thought a lot was accomplished in this for what is essentially at the pay-per-view a #1 contenders match.
Well, I definitely look at this match and think you do expect a good match between AJ, who's a good performer in TNA, yeah. And then there's Roode, who's obviously gone from his old tag team up to the main event scene. This match was a good kickoff. You would think, oh, you got AJ and Roode in an opening match instead of a smaller match, but this definitely kicked the show off in a long match that people were actually entertained.
I like the fact that TNA open with a match. I mean, I do like it. It's nice and refreshing to not open with a promo sometimes. I do think the match maybe went on a little bit too long, personally, but that's just my own personal taste there. And one thing I wasn't sure about is they finished the segment and they went off it very quickly. And I thought, you know, try and stay on that segment a little bit, TNA. Just that's one thing that kind of bugged me about this segment.
Well, it ended in a good way. The match, yeah. Yes, you gave Roode the win over AJ, which was a pretty good big thing. Then you had the stare down between Roode and Storm, or Storm and AJ, or however you want to look at it. I thought that, obviously leading to the pay-per-view, was a nice, warm moment, and I thought it was a good opening for the show.
Speaking of nice warm moments, Joseph Park came out. I always love Joseph Park on the mic. Can I start? Oh, okay. Joseph Park doesn't want to be an attorney anymore. He wants to be a man, and he wants his match against one of the members of the Aces and Eights because he's Joseph Park and he is awesome.
And the only one that could give it to him is Hulk Hogan, which brings him out. And he does what we expect Hogan to do, is put over him by saying, I'm glad the work you've done, the way you've been in our company. It was a nice little segment between the two, I thought.
And then you have Bully Ray coming out. And I think this is a big difference for me between TNA and WWE. You have Bully Ray coming out and putting over Joseph Park, saying that in their feud, he showed guts, he showed heart, and he actually managed to beat him. And in WWE, where you'll have Vicky Guerrero be the supervisor, GM person, even though she'd been fraternizing with many people in the past, you at least here have TNA. I like how they write their history. It's like, you know, you got Bully Ray putting over Joseph Park because in their feud, Joseph Parkin, essentially, at the end of the day, it was about him showing guts. And that was what this is all about. And I must admit, Bully Ray, it was definitely a star tonight. Wouldn't you say, NJ?
The sad thing about this is, again, I'm going to agree with a certain someone. He is not Bully Ray anymore. He's a newer version, Bubba Ray 2.0.
Yeah, you could say that. Park versus Gallows was announced at the pay-per-view. So you got Joseph Park versus the Director of Chaos now at the pay-per-view.
And the one who chokes him through the table,
yeah.
so it makes sense to have this match.
Yeah.
And I thought this was pretty good. The thing I didn't quite like was obviously the whole Bully Ray becoming a face thing. But he did say, you know how good it feels to say yes! And then obviously Hogan gave it to what he wants, because at first Hogan was a bit, oh, I'm not sure if I should put you in this, you're not a real wrestler, I'm watching out for you. But the match is booked, and it's another match for the pay-per-view, which this show needed to book.
I mean, there's a lot of horny teenage guys out there that love the feeling of saying yes, don't you? You know what I mean, NJ?
Especially when they say it, yes.
And speaking of reasons why you want to say yes, we had ODB next with massive boobies versus Tyra and Jesse Goddard in this segment. No, NJ, you don't have boobies. I have boobies, though. We all have boobies in this world some way or another. ODB gets the victory. So ODB essentially beats Tyra and Jesse Goddard on her own, which is a little bit... I wasn't a massive fan of the book, and even though they did get the heat back on Tyra after the match, after actually the match happened,
I did predicted Eric Young to make his return, but they're still teasing a possible breakup between the two.
Yeah.
But this match, I don't really care for it as much as I do like to see ODB in a singles thing. The fact that Tyra's with this "Who are ya?" guy, it just didn't feel good, and the fact that he was wrestling a woman, it's the whole thing. Like Eric Young is a knockout champion. It just made no sense. This didn't really interest me at all.
Oh, who got the worst "Who are you" reaction? Jesse Goddard or Brad Maddox? Jesse Goddard's got the worst one, especially after all that build. Bigger than Brad and Angelina. I mean, at least oh god. And yeah, so I just want to ask a question here, though. Is Tara's new gimmick hindering her? Because I do feel it kind of is, and I do feel this, you got ODB and Tara there, and I'm not really sure this is really working. This feud just isn't really working for me, and it seems like a way to get EY back on TV, but apparently I'm hearing news that I saw on TNA Asylum.com, the video which the website this video will be featured on, that apparently his contract talks have stalled, so he might not be coming back to TNA, apparently.
With Tara, I think her character is working, but I think the thing that's affecting her is her boyfriend. I think Tara turning heel is a great thing for the company. I just think it's that stupid boyfriend that is affecting her to become a strong heel for the company again. And
I agree. Ever since he's come along the scene, her booking has been terrible. And then we get to our main event, I should say. First time ever without masks. 4 guys without masks in a match with Aces and Eights in there. Kurt Angle and Sting versus Devon and the Director of Chaos, which we all know is Luke Gallows.
The first thing I said during this, yes, you could back by this, but the logical match, because Bully Ray didn't really have a match tonight, I really think that it should have been Sting and Bully Ray, because obviously Bully Ray and Devon is the feud that we're going to be getting eventually. Yeah. So having him in the place would have made more sense than Angle versus the Ace and Eights.
Well, I rebuffed that with 2 points. Angle is facing Devon, so he needed to get these two interacting somehow. I don't really know why. This is my question, really. Does Angle's match with Devon seem a little bit random and pointless? I mean, you thought they'd have Bully Ray versus Devon. Look, they were going down that road, but now they've got Angle in there as well. And it's kind of like you got this massive angle on TV, and it's leading to kind of pointless pay-per-view matches.
The thing is, Angle, I do disagree with being a part of the Ace and Eights feuding thing. I think it should have been AJ and Angle going that direction, because I think that would have been an okay, strong match. And I think Bully Ray should have been here, because Bully Ray, they're still teasing the feud between Devon and Bully Ray, especially with the result of this match. It would have made more sense for Bully Ray to be in this match, but I just thought it missed out.
And why is Bully Ray not on Turning Point? I just don't know. He's one of the strongest characters, and he's not on Turning Point. But anyway, we'll get to this segment. They have the match. The important thing about this segment was what happened after the match. This was really needed for the Aces and Eights. They needed to look strong again, and you have Bully Ray coming in to get a bit of revenge on Devon. He gets the table. The crowds go absolutely mental for that table that Bubba Ray does. Devon runs some Bully Ray. Then you get this massive beatdown from Luke Gallows, proving his worth by hitting Sting consistently with a hammer.
Yeah, that's the thing, because the thing about it was, I looked at it and it was the whole Ace and 8 beatdown, which was really needed because Sting started to become the whole guy he was, which was beat down guys, started doing his finishing move. So for the Ace and 8s to obviously overcome that by all gathering in, beat down, have the Ace and 8 overpowering TNA was a really good thing. It really gave me more interest in the Ace and 8s. The fact they've taken out Sting for the second time now, I am thinking, goodbye Sting, now you're going to be concentrating on Hogan, unless Hogan is secretly behind this, or the fact that you've narrowed one of your challengers down.
Yeah, and I think Sting does need to be off TV for a little while after this. But was anyone else here expecting a mass brawl? Because I was just expecting a mass brawl, but I think this was definitely a good segment for getting the heat back on Aces and Eights and making them look like a mean fucking faction again, really.
What we needed. Devon, you should be disappointed in yourself, because tonight you were showed up by the Director of Chaos, Luke Gallows. How disappointed am I in you? Luke Gallows had to do the dirty work that you failed to do. Tonight he outshone you by miles in the past events that you tried to do. So Devon, you've got pay-per-views coming up, other events coming up. You have a chance to try and bring back your A game, to try and prove that you're a rightful member of the Ace and Eights. But right now, Luke Gallows is doing all the great work. The person that we can get behind. The person that took out Sting. The person that took out Joseph Parks. And what did you actually do?
So next up, we had Christian York's gut check. And I think it's fair to say that 2 weeks ago when we first saw this guy, we really didn't see too much in him. But in my opinion, when I saw him in the ring last week and I saw the look the guy had and the way he wrestled in the ring, I was really impressed by him. And I'm not surprised that he got a clean sweep of yeses, to be honest, because he probably is one of the best gut checks they've had apart from Joey Ryan.
Other than his great performance in the ring, which we saw, he came down to the ring to a good crowd reaction. He interacted with some of the crowd as he got into the ring, and then he got straight down to business, and he got the 2 yeses, but obviously Al Snow was the 3rd. And it was a nice warm-up to give him into the TNA, so I thought with this, he well deserved it.
Yeah, he did really deserve it. I mean, he's got, obviously, the guy has some talent. The guy had to go through, in my opinion. The way they set this up was actually quite good. You had Taz going, that he definitely knew he was going to say yes, and they were questioning whether or not he'd been in the business for so long, why he hadn't made it and stuff. So, again, they did a good job here setting it up. Christian York goes through. My question is now, please, TNA, follow up on this. Don't just do it and then not hear from him. I think this guy is ready if you want to put him in some kind of feud. I mean, they've got so many people on the roster right now, like Kenny King and people like that they don't use, and I'm thinking to myself, these gut check guys now, they're going to get put on the roster, but are they going to get used? And I guess that is my only issue with the gut check segment now, really.
Well, the fact they've moved him away from the tag division, now he's a singles wrestler, I do think they should give him a singles run, prove that he can perform on his own, and add more to the X Division, which was slowly starting to decline again.
Hopefully so. Speaking of X Division and gut check, Joey Ryan versus RVD is announced for the X Division title. We didn't get a segment on TV this week, which is a little bit of a shame, but they had that backstage segment with Matt Morgan and Hulk Hogan. It seems like Hulk Hogan is really standing by his word that Matt Morgan is the best thing we've seen in 25 years, brother, even though he said the exact same thing about Garrett Bischoff.
Well, with this, I did like the fact that Matt Morgan got all serious, all light-hearted and being a face. I do like this whole character, getting Hogan's face, really showing that he's meaning what he says, proving that he deserves to be in the main event picture. Yes, I still think him with Joey Ryan's going to hold him back for a little while, but eventually I think Matt Morgan and Hogan could have something to do with the future.
YWC, you brought this out of me, and now I'm going to get my revenge on you. Those are the kind of promos you can expect from Matt Morgan down the line. And I have a question for you guys as well. Do you think Matt Morgan, we will see big things from him, or do you think he'll, like, the TNA will book him like they've done before, and he'll kind of just go into, obscurity? So what do you guys think about Matt Morgan? Do you think that he could get a push? I definitely feel he's the kind of guy that could really do well in the TNA if they get him right, which they haven't done in the past, unfortunately.
I think, in fact, the last time with Crimson, it did slip up a bit. I think this time round, the fact they're making him look serious, they're putting him against Hogan, I think this is a good start to put him to the top again.
Next up, we had a 6-man tag match. Magnus, Chavo, and Hernandez. No, sorry, wrong way round. Samoa Joe, Chavo, and Hernandez versus Magnus, Daniels, and Kaz, combining the TV title and the tag title fuse in a 6-man tag match. It's a pretty good 6-man tag match, I thought. I guess the one thing I see here, every time I see Chavo, Hernandez, and Daniels, and Kaz, I'm just left wondering, why did they take the belts off the tag team that is clearly better. Daniels and Kaz just way better than Chavo Hernandez.
I still think as Chavo's knew they were going to make him look important. Welcome to our show. You're going to become the tag champs within a few months of being here. Here you go, and you're going to feud with the best tag team we've got. So with this match, you saw the performance from all wrestlers, which is expected, because we've seen that tag match at the pay-per-view, so we know it was going to be a quality match. Samoa Joe and Magnus, they're showing the feud is continuing. So with this match, I think it accomplished a lot.
Yeah, no, I think it did as well. It accomplished forwarding both feuds going to the Turning Point pay-per-view. They even allowed Magnus to get the pin on Samoa Joe. I think that's the first pin he's got on a guy since... I can't remember.
A while back. But the thing about this is that the way they did it, yes, you could say he had helped to get the pin, but it's still a pin at the end of the day. And when it comes to the pay-per-view, yes, Joe could still win, but at least he's actually got what he needed, which was a win over the big guy. Yep,
very nice match with nice booking and some good storyline progression. So I can't complain at all, really, about this segment. Then we get to the main event segment, which I guess really wasn't hyped up, which was like my thing. It's like they didn't really hype this up as the main event. They didn't say like, oh, Aries is going to be addressing this. I really felt they could have hyped this up a little bit more.
They had Aries walking around backstage, doing all this and that.
What was Billy and Brooke doing backstage?
That was a question.
That was like, what the fuck?
A bit of a question, but with this, I do think that with Aries walking backstage, didn't really mean anything, but we knew he was eventually going to come to the ring, because obviously Aries is our champion, or was our champion, but he's acting like the champion.
Technically, he is still a champion. He's got the belt.
It looks it, but I was looking forward to this to see what else they can add to this feud.
You know, when Austin Aries goes out there, he's going to perform well on the mic. I mean, I guess I just have one thing to say. They had Austin Aries come out with the ladders in the ring. I'm really starting to dislike fans that do the what chant. There are times and places to have it.
What?
You just summed it up there. It's very annoying, isn't it?
What?
It's very annoying, isn't it? You know, I'm just saying, like, the fans that say what in the crowd are just idiots.
We want Hardy!
Yeah, and, well,
We want Hardy!
That's just a babyface reaction. So we get push come to shove. Austin Aries talks for a couple of minutes about the match and Jeff Hardy. And then you get him saying that if Jeff wants to get the belt, he should come down to the ring and get it himself. And so they end up brawling for a little bit. Aries escapes the twister feint. You have Jeff standing tall, hanging the belt, ready for the pay-per-view, which is going to happen in the same building. So there we go. And then, you know, just as we think the show is going to end with Jeff Hardy on top, Austin Aries knocks him off the ladder and he ends the segment on the top of the ladder. What a nice main event segment here.
That's exactly what we needed. So after that twist of fate, I thought the way they quickly did that, Jeff Hardy got into the ring and within seconds he put Aries down. I thought that was a bit sad.
He escaped from the... I think the whole point of it was that he escaped, but I don't know.
Okay, the way it looked, knocking down Jeff, showing that the challenger is... Because he backed up and said, I'm going to become the champion, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to wear your title as my belt. You'll be near my crotch.
You're going to be near my crotch.
Yes, well done there.
Like the coin in my pocket, which I currently have on the table, the Queen's head is rested softly against my crotch.
That's the way it was going down, and I'm really liking Aries on mic. Taking down Jeff was a nice spot. You know, having Jeff come out on top, which some people do complain about. This finished the show quite nicely, and I really liked how it finished.
You know, this show really illustrated to me one big difference between TNA and WWE. WWE essentially want their babyfaces to end every segment on top, but you had Austin Aries on top, the heel tag team of Magnus on top, you know, Bobby Roode won his match. You had a lot of heels tonight that came out on top, which is good for getting them heat going as baby. So I commend TNA for at least booking their heels to look somewhat dominant, even though and Aces and Eights, even though Magnus is a bit of an odd case because he hasn't had a pin in some time.
No, it's a bit sad. The only thing I didn't like about this whole show was the ODB stuff. As much as I do support ODB being a singles, that whole thing really didn't interest me. But the rest... Pay-per-view build, which was needed, strongly done. The Ace and Eights are looking dominant, which they need, because obviously the TNA coming on top of the Ace and Eights doesn't really help the Ace and Eights. And overall, I think this go-home show was nicely done.
Before I go into my overall thoughts, I just want to ask you guys out there a quick question. The Aces and Eights is a big angle for TNA right now. I just want to know your guys' interest level right now in the Aces and Eights angle. I just want to know what your interest is in this angle right now compared to when it first started. But as for my overall thoughts on the show, I thought this was a really good show. The only segment I really wasn't too interested in was like you said, the ODB Tyra and Jesse Goddard's segment. But they gave this show some good pay-per-view hype. The whole card was announced tonight. There's going to be no filler matches like another certain organisation that we will not mention in this video, even though we mentioned it many times. But a lot of good segments on the show. A very good going show. I think it's one of the best impacts we've had for quite some time. But a really good show overall, I thought, this week.
I really felt that this show, yes, the pay-per-view has not really got like a long-term effect, but it's got strong matches to watch. So again, as we're going to say, on Friday, you can see, Saturday, you can see our overall predictions.
It will be a turning point for some people there, and like Andrew said, you'll see our predictions video on the Saturday. So there we go. Put your thoughts on this edition of TNA Impact Wrestling down in that comment section below. And you know, I don't even need to announce it. You know what to do.
YouTubers, this has been a pretty good show, which we needed from TNA, because obviously with TNA's pay-per-view coming up and then going up to the new year, this was definitely needed. So all I can say, people, is thank you very much for watching the video from the British Fist. Support us by doing this, and subscribe up there. And until next time, YouTubers, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.